My name is Dr. Paul Jones and I'm Head of Forensic Science at the University of South Wales. I've held this post for about 8 years, previously having been a lecturer in analytical chemistry and forensics at USW. I got into studying science from an early interest in finding out how things work. I remember going to a shop called Toys R Us in Cardiff with some birthday money that I had. I spent that money on a chemistry set and on a microscope. It's from those days that my interest really developed in finding out how things worked and discovering more about science. I had a particular interest in both chemistry and biology, so I decided to study those subjects at GCSEs. By that time, I knew that I wanted to have a career in science, and I studied chemistry and physics alongside maths at A level. I then went on to university to study chemistry. Then, because I developed an interest specifically in analytical chemistry and in applied chemistry during my first degree, I was fortunate enough to be offered a place to complete a PhD. So my PhD was actually in the application of the use of analytical chemistry based techniques and computer simulation based techniques in order to study the wound healing process with a view to developing more effective wound healing dressings. Now, it wasn't really until about 2001 that I got into the field of forensic science, and that's when I was offered a place as a lecturer at the University of South Wales. I was called in basically to lead a number of practical classes at the university, a range of analytical techniques, and particularly how they could be applied within a forensic context. And I've stayed within this field for the last 20 years. It's a field that I really thrive in because I'm always very keen in taking science to the next level and using research techniques to actually see whether we can lower the limits of detection, for example. Now, I'm currently involved in some projects with students which I find particularly interesting, and we're looking at how blood stains weather with regards to the exposure to different kinds of environment. We're also looking at the effect of weathering on blood stains if they're buried in certain environments. So, for example, under a pile of leaves or under a stack of sand or in amongst some concrete material. And I've created some crime scenes in a box with students where we've simulated where t-shirts and underwear might have been put for various reasons into these environments, and then we recovered those items after periods of time to see if they're still detectable and whether or not we can still detect the blood and other biological fluids on these particular clothing items, because that's really important with regards to knowing if we can do that in relation to handling of forensic evidence related to a crime. It brings nicely my knowledge and the students' knowledge of chemistry, their ability to use instruments together and to apply to a real world problem in the forensics arena. So I feel very much at home at USW, being able to train our future forensic practitioners, and there's nothing that I love more than being in the lab with them, seeing how they actually progress.